This is the Main Event Marks Podcast, brought to you by the Unhinged Sports Network. I'm your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, and cat dad, Troy. And with me, as always, is the Main Event Collector and the ECW Encyclopedia of Classic Wrestling. He is the Masato Tanaka to my Mike Awesome. He's Greg. What's up, Greg?
What's up? I don't even know what to do with that entrance or intro.
Well, I figured I'd change it up because I always say the WWE. By the way, that is available at our Redbubble store. You can get a T-shirt with fancy lettering and whatnot. Looks like some classic WWF stuff.
Reminds me, I gotta order some stickers. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it says WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia in dedication to Greg, but at the same time, you wear it around and it's a nice conversation piece.
You can promote your favorite podcast too.
Exactly. It's a good conversation piece to say, I mean, obviously not with women, but, still.
Well, maybe not in Ohio.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know what's out here either.
Well, yeah. I've seen I've seen female wrestling fans, and they don't all have the look, bro, but.
Well, some of them have a look, all right, but, save the perv topics for another time. Okay.
Wow. But I'm trying to come up with new shirt ideas, and I think ECW, the Encyclopedia of Classic Wrestling, I think that's another good one I can put up there. Coming soon to the Redbubble store near you. But enough talk about the merchandise today. On topic, though, we are talking about ECW. It's been a while. It's not like I've missed it.
That was a great song of Sustained, wasn't it? Sorry.
But yeah, we're bringing it back, man. Today we're talking about ECW's Heatwave 1998. Last year we covered Heatwave 1999, and that show was also in, Dayton.
And it's of course the New Day was booty.
Yeah, it was, not a great show. I'll just say that. There was one thing in particular that, wouldn't fly in 2021 that involved the Dudley Boys.
I don't know why the hell it would fly ever, but yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Only with that audience and only in that city. I'll say that. And hey, I can trash on Dayton. I'll let
you be the authority of that. I don't know. So.
Yeah. Hey, I can trash on Dayton just like you can trash on Berkeley.
Don't get me started. How much time do you people have today?
Yeah, right. Well, but today we're actually talking about, not to spoil things, but we're actually not going to crap all over this one today. If you have similar notes to me, at least.
I actually, not to get ahead, but I actually enjoyed this show. Now, were there some moments where I rolled my eyes? Absolutely, but it is ECW. But
yeah,
overall, I was shocked. I thought I liked this.
Yeah, right.
Find the words to say that.
Well, right off the bat, I'm just going to say best part of the show, what Francine was wearing.
What was she not wearing? Okay, anyway.
Yeah, or
I
that.
thought we were going to save the perp stuff. Didn't we just make our package?
It's an ECW show, so it's going to happen. But anyway, let's.
Can I just say real quick, she's aged really well.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised. You look at her, it's like, wow, you don't look that much different. For it being over 2 decades, since this show right here, she doesn't look that much different. She's aged, but not that much.
That's, I think that's Brian Myers' Hall Pass. I'm almost certain it is.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's.
Anybody who listens to Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, you'll concur.
Yeah, well, that's the one, Conrad keeps asking, if whenever him and Tony Schiavone have get-togethers, he keeps asking Tony, he's like, should I invite Francine? He's like, oh, no, I already have her number. He's like, no, she's married, right? He's like, yeah, I just want to invite her over.
Where is it written? Can't just be friends.
Yeah, right? Me, her, a bottle of Vaseline. There's nothing wrong with that. Gosh, get your mind out of the gutter.
Crap.
Before we get into the news and notes, yet again, I want to let you know that the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Fanatics. Get all your officially licensed sports gear there. Link is down in the podcast description. We're also sponsored by our newest sponsor, Swift Lifestyle. Lifestyles. They are clean energy drinks and focus enhancers, great tasting vitamins, and big brain nootropics that are made and shipped from the USA. Go to swiftlifestyles.com, link down in the description, and use our special promo code MAINEVENTMARKS, all one word, for 15% off of your order. Also, if you are listening on the podcast feed, please like and subscribe, leave a 5-star review and all of that. Spread the word about the Main Event Marks. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And we are also playing live every Wednesday. It's our premiere at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on unhingedsn.airtime.pro. The immediate replay is right after at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We also have replays on Thursdays, Fridays, and Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Again, that is unhingedsn.airtime.pro. But anyway, up next, after this break, we're gonna get into all the news and notes from around this time in 1998 on the other end of this break.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get all the best podcast swag from the Main Event Marks. Our merch shop offers custom graphics, including the podcast logo, on hats, shirts, masks, greeting cards, and more. There are tons of new designs with more dropping all the time. Just head on over to redbubble.com/people/Main Event Marks to grab your podcast merch today and become an official Main Event Mark. That's redbubble.com/people/Main Event Marks. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back.
And we're back.
Time to get into the news and notes. At WCW Road Wild.
Oh, God.
Yeah, can only go up from here, man. But Uncle Dave Meltzer claims that the plan is for Hollywood Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and the Disciple to take on Diamond Dallas Page, Jay Leno, and Kevin Eubanks in a 6-man tag match as at the main event of the show, which might just set a new standard for worst pay-per-view main event ever.
Most of that would happen, but...
Yeah, the Disciple was not a part of it. Kevin Eubanks was not a part of it.
Hold on. They were a part of it.
Oh, were they at ringside?
Yeah, Kevin Eubanks used the diamond cutter on Eric Bischoff.
Oh, okay. See, this was a Road Wild I have not watched yet. Maybe we've got to review it at some point because, we'll run out of stuff to talk about in August. So we've got to ironically laugh at something, right?
I thought we were covering ECW today.
Good Lord. Well, this is for like a future year, man. We're going to run out of ECW in August eventually. Although I will mention, for everybody whining and crying about moving to Peacock and they don't have everything yet, like they're adding more ECW stuff than the WWE network ever had.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I'm like, I gotta see what the hell you're talking about. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff apparently that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, they're adding more stuff like weekly too. And this is stuff that like I thought was going forever, bro. But it's being uploaded, so I'm just like, wow, these weren't even like pay-per-views. They were like those special shows that before they did pay-per-view. So there you go. They still don't have, I don't believe they have Born to be Wired up there yet, so that now in the archives,
that's the one I'm losing sleep over.
Yeah. Well, that one we reviewed. We had to watch that one, I believe, off Dailymotion or one of them sites, and it's not good. The podcast was funny, but the show sucked. Anyway.
Ironic is funny.
Yeah. Well, speaking of suck, not the first guy. This first name, this guy's fine. The rest of the story, yikes. Bruce Buffer, the younger brother of ring announcer Michael Buffer, is working with Tank Abbott's business manager, as Tank Abbott's business manager, and is pushing to get Tank to join WCW.
Oh, I wonder how that's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that did happen, and, yeah. For some reason, Vince
I'm like, that did happen, and yes, that did happen.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Which one of those two do you think would go on to have a better career? His manager, Bruce Buffer, or Tank Abbott?
Tank effing Abbott.
I think nowadays Tank Abbott is known for saying offensive things online, and Bruce Buffer is one of the most beloved announcers of all time.
Yeah, I think his career really took a huge dive, a lot of fans, when he called George St. Pierre. He called him it, not me, not my words. He called him gay boy.
Oh, for God's sake.
And, like, I don't think I'd ever call that man anything to his face like that.
No. Yeah, I'd like to see Tank say that to his face and see what happens. GSP would, like, stretch him so bad. By the way, isn't GSP married to a very beautiful woman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
I don't think this was, I mean, obviously it was a homophobic thing, but I think it was more,
the schoolyard.
That and stereotypical because he's French Canadian, so.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's where my mind
I don't know.
too,
That's
I was like, is it 'cause he's...
That's my thought. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what it was, but.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, it's like, like you and I talking before about it, it's like, that's still an insult that people use nowadays. Like, yeah, well, you're gay. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, you're a heterosexual. Okay.
Thanks. I don't, alright.
This guy right here, I mean, he's awesome. He's got a grasp of the obvious. Let's give him some points for that.
Yeah, right. Here's a funny one out of WCW. Last WCW story here. I guess it's more sad and a little funny. The New York Daily News
take a second to appreciate your lead into this, because I can already tell.
Oh yeah.
It's all sad, but you know.
It's sad because it's like, holy cow, this happened. And it's a little funny though to look back at. I'm sure at the time it wasn't. But here we go. The New York Daily News had a good story on the WCW Bash the Beach pay-per-view. After the recent remarks from Bob Costas about Karl Malone demeaning himself by doing wrestling, Karl Malone was quoted in a story by saying, "Excuse my French, but fuck Bob Costas."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird because Bob Costas is one of the most universally loved guys. I mean, he did baseball for crying out. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
Why would he say this stuff and do, and I love that movie Basketball. I don't care what anyone says, but he would lower himself to a raunchy toilet humor comedy like that and say this?
I know. Yeah, he hates professional wrestling. Everybody speculates it's because Vince turned him down for a job years ago.
That's why I think Meltzer hates him.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, cause I guess he did try out and Vince shut him down, but it's like, shouldn't you be appreciative? I think your life went pretty well after that. I don't know.
Host the Olympics and he's like the face of baseball for announcers or reporters, whatever. I don't get it.
I know. It's weird. But the story also talked about how the night of the pay-per-view, Dennis Rodman disappeared for several hours to, quote, go get food with some friends, and there was legit concern that he wouldn't get back to the arena in time for his match.
I think Bischoff confirmed now on his podcast.
Yeah. This next part I was like, whoa, what? Fellow NBA player Antoine Carr. I'm not super into basketball in the 90s. You know who that is?
I was into it in the 90s, but I don't know who that is off the top of my head. You're probably about to tell me and it's going to come to me.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. But anyway, he was backstage for the WCW event. They approached him and asked him if he would like to do the match if Rodman failed to return. Seriously? Like, I realize you need a backup plan, but it's like, you don't even remember this guy. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Not that I'm, the measuring stick. I just said I'm not a big basketball guy. But it's like, really? I guess his nickname was the Big Dog, and he played power forward for 6 different teams across 16 seasons.
Wow, 6 teams.
Yeah, during this time...
Anybody who watches basketball knows that usually means the guy is expendable. Usually. I'm not saying he is, but that's a good sign that he is.
Yeah, he, at this time, he played for the Jazz, and he was about to go to the Rockets.
Okay, so now we know why he was in the building.
Right, yeah. So, there you go. But, anyway, that would have just been a funny, like, oh, you got him. Alright. But, luckily he did, but just as you see in the match, he came back drunk and was obviously in no real condition to perform, but WCW put him in the ring anyway. The story also talked about an incident at the pay-per-view where CNN's Craig Sayer tried to interview Goldberg backstage, and Bischoff freaked out because they don't want Goldberg giving interviews and talking because they're trying to protect him and keep him as a silent badass.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what he was.
Right. So, like, nobody told him, it's like, hey, don't interview him.
CNN, so something tells me he probably would have got his way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird all the way around. And obviously I just let the cat out of the bag. I wasn't watching WCW at this time. I assume you saw the match.
I did.
At Bash at the Beach.
We ordered it, I believe.
So, did he seem drunk and out of sorts during the match? Rodman, that is?
He seemed like Dennis Rodman, so that's all I'm going to say.
So, yes.
I thought it came off really well. Now, I thought his match the previous year with Luger and Giant against them two was better, but,
What was with him and this event, man?
I never figured that out, but at this point, I know it only happened twice, by the way, but at this point, I'm like, is this the thing going forward? And then he would wrestle at Road Wild the next August.
Right.
Macho Man. So I was like, is this just
Down
the
the
thing?
archives.
Right? The summer of WCW has to have Rodman? Was that the thing?
Well, even if you go back to 95 Bash of the Beach, he was at cage side for Hogan versus Vader.
Yeah, and then at Uncensored 97, he was there too, so.
Yeah.
It's always been a fixture.
Yep.
It's a huge name, by the way, so having him on your show is only going to be good.
Oh yeah, it definitely clout, for sure. Getting to the WWF side of things here. WWF Fully Loaded pay-per-view is in the books and was a show. Nothing much to say about it. Some good, some bad.
This was the night Undertaker and Austin won the tag titles, I believe.
Ah, okay.
I think so.
Well, I actually have a note about the Undertaker coming up here in a second about this pay-per-view. But Vader jobbed to Mark.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know about that one. Vader jobbed to Mark Henry in a bad match, and Uncle Dave said that it's clearly time for Vader to move on, but at this point in his career, there may not be anywhere that he can really go and do any better.
He's not wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's kind of over the hill in 98. The dungeon match was good, but awkward since it was pre-taped with no crowd in the ring. I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember the match happening. I just don't. Okay, no, I take that back. I do remember. That was the one where they wrestled in the Hart basement there. So that was effing weird. Rocky Maivia went to a 30-minute draw with Triple H, and which was probably the longest match of either of their careers, which is a real risk with today's short attention spans, and with two unproven workers, but they did work hard, and it turned out pretty good.
I just laugh looking at them now.
Right. That's, and that's like one of the biggest rivalries of either one of their careers was against those two.
We're still waiting on one more match. I think it's going to happen at some point.
Man, I wish. I don't even care if it's good. I just want to see it. And the only real note from the main event was Undertaker coming out to an altered version of his theme.
Yeah, that was a placeholder. He would get the other one the next night. The one that I think you and I both think is like his best one ever. That would actually debut the next night.
Okay. Well, you know who doesn't like the fact that Undertaker changed his theme, Greg? Uncle Dave. He said it's stupid to mess with it.
I thought it only got more badass.
I know. Like,
can you top the original? Hell no, but I thought this was damn good.
Oh yeah. I loved that theme. I wish you would have kept it, but I get going back to the original, but, whatever. Also at the pay-per-view, there was a bikini contest between Sable and Jacqueline. First, it featured Jacqueline's nipple slipping out, which was supposed to seem like an accident. Then Sable came out with body paint over her nipples and was topless otherwise.
Can we pause? I gotta go to the bathroom. Never mind.
What the hell? This segment is sponsored by Blue Chew and Johnson & Johnson, or excuse me, Jergens.
Wow.
Oh.
We got it in.
Hell yeah, it's giggity.
Wow, that was not supposed to be like that, but that was just a bonus.
That's what she said.
Wow.
Anyway. And other WWF.
I remember that, by the way. I always thought it was just on accident.
I'm sure you do remember that. You were a teenager at that point, weren't you?
Actually, you know what? Looking back, though, I think she had a moment in the UK where she got exposed while on I think she was on like a referee's shoulders during a match.
Oh, Jacqueline? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sable pulls her top off.
Yep, just ripped the whole shirt off.
So was that a thing? Yep. Was she like an exhibitionist or what?
WWF basically made her one.
I mean, I don't judge. I'm just, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess, Bruce Pritchard said they basically, you know, approached her and I was like, hey, am I getting topless? And she's like, nope. So, whatever.
Howard Conrad say, want to get naked?
Wow. Won't get naked, wrestle. Bet I can make you squeal like a piggy.
Good God.
Hey, I'm sure.
Make it worse.
I'm sure Jacqueline wanted to show off with $6,000 paid for, you know?
Leave me alone.
Anyway, going from that to this, in a huge upset in the WWF Brawl for All tournament, Bart Gunn.
God.
Bart Gunn.
Sorry, I just know we were bringing this back.
Hell yeah.
Sorry.
I forgot it was around this time, but. Bart Gunn knocked out Steve Williams in the third round. The plan was for Williams to win the whole tournament and set him up as a challenger for Steve Austin. But you can't predict shoots. Williams suffered a knee injury in the fight, and the punch that beat him also dislocated his jaw. Yeah.
This is the part where we're gonna shill Dark Side of the Ring, by the way, because I feel like we gotta get that in. This is one of the better episodes, I thought. So.
Absolutely. It was cool to see draws again. I mean, it's sad, but it's cool to see draws. And he's in relatively high spirits for his condition, so that's good. Vince Russo came off as a complete douchebag. I mean,
he's entertained by this, bro.
Yeah, right. We got one of the bigger gifts of all time from this episode. Just wow. By the way, was this the episode or was it the Montreal show where, we get the corny ass picture, pun intended, of Jim Cornette ripping the Vince Russo picture in half?
I think it's the Brawl for All because you can pass Montreal off as everyone's fault, I think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was a Brawl for All because he's adamant that Russo ruined a lot of, I'm not saying he's wrong, but he's adamant that Russo ruined a lot of careers with that. So I'm thinking it has to be that.
Yeah, I couldn't remember because I'm pretty sure he bickered about Russo in the Montreal episode, but I couldn't remember.
He did, but like, not as much.
There's one where like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the show is just Cornette just ranting on Russo, which is what he does best. But I was just like, hot damn, dude, you had to get it in.
What he did best. Now what he does best is AEW. That's different.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, the thing with Williams, I mean, if you listen to everybody's story, like, Pritchard won't admit it. He won't just come out and say, yeah, we were expecting him to win, we didn't expect Bart to win, whatever. Everybody else's account of the story says, yeah, we basically set this up for Dr. Death to win. And it didn't happen. Because nobody thought Bart could fight.
Why the hell wouldn't you think a cowboy could fight?
Yeah.
Well, not even being funny. I mean, I don't know if he really was one, but country boys are usually tough as nails. So what did you expect? Right.
Well, I don't know, man. And the thing was in that fight where he knocked out Williams, like, it's not like Williams had him on the rope and then all of a sudden he got, hurt and
right.
off the rope. Like, he was getting his ass beat.
If you go back and watch it, he got owned.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never in doubt.
Right. And yeah, I guess he did. It says here he got a knee injury, but I'm pretty sure I heard he pulled a hamstring or ripped his hamstring or something like that. And he started, as he's going down, Bart clocks him and just knocks him the F out. I don't know. It's just a weird fact of wrestling that everybody can say Bart Gunn knocked out Steve Williams.
Now, I remember watching this when I was a teenager, and not to speak ill of the dead, my first thought was, that guy from WCW, why is he here now?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for saying that, but I was like, oh, yay, Dr. Death. Cool.
My first thought was like, because you gotta keep in mind, at this time, I'm like 7 going on 8. and I'm fairly new to wrestling. Like, I hadn't even been watching for a full year at this point. So, I'm sitting here going, and this is what, the whole critique of the thing from people like Cornette. I was like, so, everything I was watching earlier, was that fake? And this is real? Or is this fake like that stuff? Or is it all real?
My whole thing about it was I just thought it was, part of the show. I think I was like 16 maybe when I realized it was a shoot.
Yeah. Well, like, in the YouTube archives, if you guys dig back to, last July, we had a bonus show where we covered a show that had, some Brawl for All on it, an old Raw is War. And it, we talked about another thing that kind of blurred the lines was Road Warrior Hawk came out in full paint and tights. So we were like, huh?
And I could be wrong on this. I just don't want to get any heat from you were wrong. I think they're still doing the whole Hawk drunk thing when he came out. Or, they weren't, sorry. It was in full swing, but he came out not like that. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it happened later. I don't know. But
I actually have that leads us into our next story, actually. 'Cause somebody else from the Brawl for All here, Kama is now going by the name Godfather and is doing a pimp gimmick and came to the ring with 3 hoes.
That's right. Wasn't this the debut of it, unofficially?
Yeah, around this time, right in this, era. Also, the WWF is doing a gimmick with the Legion of Doom where Hawk is basically on drugs or drunk or something.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That was good stuff. And it all ends with, cause Draws was part of the LOD at this point, and it all ends with, Draws shoving a drunk Hawk off of the top of the Titantron.
Another funny thing, revisionist history. They always say, if you go back and watch it, everyone's always saying, well, we did this thing where Hawk fell off the Tron. Clearly we saw him pushed. But you ever notice that though? They always say he fell.
Yeah.
When they were doing, talking about the angle or whatever.
Right.
No, he didn't. So,
I can see it, cause there was speculation, cause they were trying to say, they're like, well, he pushed him, and they're like, well, no, he fell, cause he was drunk, and, cause that was the thing, for anybody out there who doesn't know, he wasn't wearing paint, he let his hair grow, he was wearing, street clothes, and he was acting drunk, and he climbed on top of
and they went so far as to have Adam call him Mike on live TV too, by the way.
Yeah. Way to bring, real life issues into, wrestling. That's...
Bro! He did it, bro. We're gonna bring it into the story, bro. He's gonna fall off the Titantron, gone forever.
Wow. We have a couple of things from ECW here I wanted to touch on. This first one, just...
Be sensitive with that, please. I don't want to touch on anything from ECW. But...
Wow. Speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, here's one. So, an appeals court in Revere, Massachusetts, overturned a ruling that New Jack could not be charged for assault in the mass transit incident. They turned the case over to a grand jury, and New Jack will be arraigned this week. He's expected to be charged with assault with the intent to commit bodily harm. The judge also wants Paul Heyman and Tommy Dreamer to appear, since they were in charge of the show that night.
This is still going.
Yeah. So the mass transit incident was very effed up and sad, and if nobody knows about it, you can kind of, they talk about it quite a bit on the New Jack episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
All right, 2 plugs this week.
Yeah. They also talk about it on the, didn't they talk about it on the Rise and Fall of ECW?
Yes.
Okay. So it's in there. I'm sure you can find umpteen million shoot interviews, online about it.
One quick thing, since we're on it. I remember watching it on the Rise and Fall of ECW, and I never heard of it until then, honestly. So when that came out in 2004 is when I first heard about it. Again, I didn't follow ECW, so I didn't give it.
Right.
But, they show New Jack jumping on some young, he looked like he dressed up in Dudley Boy's gear, but he was a young black kid. Now I thought that was mass transit. And then,
yeah.
And then Devon on the documentary says, mass transit was this Ralph Cramden looking guy. I'm like, what? Ralph Cramden was a white guy and kind of overweight. I thought it was like, they never showed him on there. I don't know. I guess looking back in hindsight, they probably can't legally. I don't know.
Well, he's been in stuff since then. I think he's playing his day on Dark Side, or maybe, I think he's on Dark Side of the Ring.
Whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, I just thought it was like weird. Like, I always thought he was just some young white kid that got the hell beat out of him, but.
By the way, the little, guy that got jumped you're talking about, are you talking about the short, or not short, but the black little person? I can't remember his name.
That might have been who it was.
Okay. Cause he was on Dark Side of the Ring too, for those of you out there that are curious.
Yeah, in hindsight, that's probably what I saw then. Okay.
Yeah, cause he was with Mass Transit and, I guess he got assaulted that night too. And he had some choice words for New Jack. So yeah.
This is a touchy subject because everybody in this is now passed, so that's sad.
Except for him, by the way.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, he's because Mass Transit, I can't remember how he died, but yeah, he had facial paralysis from getting sliced open. That was yuck. But moving on to something a little less depressing here.
ECW can only be depressing, so.
Well, Beulah McGillicuddy is returning to college full-time and is reportedly done with ECW.
That would stick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think she pretty much is. I don't remember her cropping up anymore after this.
Next time I seen her was that one night stand, honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I'm like, I think she was just gone forever, bro. I mean, she is a focal point of the main event of this show, but she's not actually there. And we'll get into it, but Paul Heyman is trying to sign Mike Awesome to a full-time deal, but it's tricky because he's the top foreign star in FMW, and they have a good relationship with ECW, so Heyman doesn't want it to look like he's trying to steal their top star, but he is.
Oh God, how much is he gonna regret that, huh?
Oh my gosh, right?
Too soon?
Yeah. Mike Awesome, they even mention his FMW stuff on here. That's Masato Tanaka is from there. For anybody that doesn't know off the top of their head, they're like, what the hell is FMW? You might recall, if you watch, AEW at all, the exploding barbed wire death match was a big thing over there with, Onita. Like, that was his, like, specialty match that he did quite often over there. And Onita ran FMW, by the way, so. Last couple of stories here. Jerry Lawler will be playing himself in the upcoming Andy Kaufman movie Man on the Moon, starring Jim Carrey.
Jim Ross in the air too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He played a commentator. I know that was a stretch.
He played the commentator, didn't he?
Did he play Lance Russell?
I think so, yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't know if they actually called him Lance Russell in the movie. If anybody's never seen, he looks and sounds nothing like Lance Russell. So that's some funny.
Boomer Sooner, he made it work.
Yeah, right. That's some funny casting. Funny side note here real quick. Jerry Lawler did talk about this. He said the scenes that they filmed, like with the wrestling stuff in that movie, he said he shows up to filming and they have an audience, and he said they're all dressed like farm hicks out in the crowd, like wearing like overalls and crap and like straw hats and stuff. And he goes up to the director and he's
farm
like,
hicks, like redundant, but okay. All right.
Well, he said he went up to the director. He's like, hey, Memphis is like a bigger city. Like, people don't dress like this here. Like, they never have. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, all right. And then he like gets on the bullhorn and he's like, change the wardrobe, get him out of here. He was like, so they just had it in their Hollywood minds that like everybody from Tennessee is just like straight off the set of Deliverance.
Didn't help that Andy Kaufman being out like that too when in their feud.
Yeah, right.
He's like one of you dumb hicks from Memphis, Tennessee.
Or Lawler said,
that's probably like the most famous Andy Kaufman wrestling interview.
Yeah, right. Last story here. We usually open up the podcast here with this, but I figured I'd keep you guessing. We're closing with death instead of opening with death. Legendary women's wrestler June Byers passed away at the age of 76. In 1954, Byers won the women's title from Mildred Burke in a match that was a total shoot. A shoot, bro!
This is a shoot!
The Booker, The booker, which is Burke's ex-husband, wanted Burke to drop the title to the woman that he would later marry. Burke didn't want to drop the title to her ex's new fling and refused. The booker figured that the only way to get the title off of her would be to put her in the ring against a bigger and stronger woman, and he had to do it as a shoot. That woman was June Byers, and Burke agreed to face her in a shoot. And it was like a 2 out of 3 falls match, which back then all title matches were. Basically, I think Burke's knee went out in the first round, in the first fall, and she had to quit or submit, whatever. And then it came to a stalemate, and they just ended the match, and they're like, all right, whatever. And they gave the title to Byers.
Oh, man. That's
yeah.
Oh, I never knew about any of that.
Yeah. So women's wrestling was weird back in the day, but there you go. But all right.
It's amazing now.
I know. Now we actually have women's matches that, I mean, back then they kind of mattered, just not in the same way. It was nowhere near as good. So.
Now we got women's matches eclipsing a lot of the men's matches on certain nights, so there's that.
Yeah, the women's matches now I actually give a damn about, and I don't sit there and go, all right, well, this is my pee break match.
You know, during the Attitude Era, it was a bathroom break match, but not for pee. Anyways, let's move on.
Good Lord. All right, well, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're getting into the actual event at hand, Heatwave 1998, after this.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan.
Alan.
Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
Oh, we shared a room.
Shared a room.
We shared a room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast.
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah, well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
No, it's alright, good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C, we spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
And we're back. Time to dive into ECW, and for once, it doesn't completely stink. It's not a giant pile of crap. It's not a giant pile of crap. It's a moderately sized pile of crap. I kid. But anyway, this one, Heatwave 1998, it took place August 2nd, 1998. The venue was the Hera Arena in Dayton, Ohio. The attendance was 4,400, and the buy rate was a laughable 0.21. There you go. Yeah. So what's that, like, a couple thousand people ordered this thing?
Maybe almost like 60, 70, maybe.
Yeah. Well, the Hera Arena, by the way...
I'm sure we're going to get corrected, by the way, so...
Oh, yeah, well, feel free to, reach out and let us know how wrong we are, and I will tell you how much I don't care. I'm just kidding. But seriously, like, I honestly, if people come to us with criticism, I'm not a jerk about it. I'm like, okay, I take that under advisement.
I'm not either, as long as you're not a jerk about it.
Right. And when I reply to you, don't reply with too long, didn't read. Because if you say that, then, I know you're just trolling, and I'm not going to care about anything you have to say. By the way, as a aside here, the Hera Arena held 5,500 people, so this was about 1,000 people shy of being a sellout. But they packed it.
Is this arena still there?
I'm trying to figure out if they ever reopened it. Okay, they officially closed it in 2016.
So this is not where Batista returned, right?
No, that's at the Nutter. The WWE never went to the Hera. That was always WCW and ECW, because that's like the secondary place in town. WWE always went to the Nutter Center. But Well, because of stuff like this show we're about to see, God got really mad at the Hera Arena and sent a tornado after it a few years ago.
Ouch.
I kid, but seriously, a tornado ripped that damn place to shreds. And then for some reason they rebuilt it and shut it down. So, that, take that for what you will.
That's a smart mayor right there anyway. Sorry, I'm not gonna get political because I don't.
No. The city. Oh no, the city didn't rebuild it. The guy who owned the damn thing rebuilt it.
Oh, that's his dumbass fault then.
Yeah, right. But anyway, the show starts off with Joey Styles in the ring, per usual, introducing his
with
broadcast partner.
yelling ECW. You didn't say that part.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Well, that's just implied, Greg. But he's introducing his broadcast partner for the evening, the injured ECW World Heavyweight Champion, Shane Douglas. Douglas comes out with Francine, who's, as we mentioned earlier, is barely wearing anything, and cuts a promo about how...
How high was she looking?
Oh man, she was all the way live. But Douglas cuts a promo about how Bam Bam Bigelow is going to destroy Taz tonight. Joey Styles says that he bought a new suit that's double-breasted, like Francine. Francine then says, I bet your suit didn't cost you $6,000, like, and then she shoves Joey's face right into her cleavage.
Yeah, man, I feel so bad for Styles,
How dare she? My gosh! That's, man, how will he ever recover?
Oh my god, these are real.
Yeah, right. No, she just said how much they cost. Keep up.
No, that's what you said. I don't believe you. These are real. You keep up.
Right. God. Oh man. By the way, can we point out that Shane Douglas is injured again?
Yeah, man, this dude is like chronically hurt.
I know, it's either
I just realized Britt Baker is too. Maybe it's just a thing in Pittsburgh. Kurt Angle has the worst neck in history. This could be a thing in the water there.
Well, and who started it all was Bruno had a broken freaking neck.
Yep.
But because he's a super effing human that apparently only he and John Cena can be, he didn't even go through surgery or anything. I think he went through traction and trained, and then he was back in the ring and he was fine. Yep. What the hell, man? What a freak. And I don't say that in a derogatory
Superman.
way. Yeah, he was the super Italian. Just like freaking, like I said, John Cena. I've never seen somebody heel like John Cena.
Oh, that's that peacemaker power, man.
I was gonna say, and if anybody's kept up with his latest role in Suicide Squad, it carries true.
Ah, so good, by the way. Everyone go watch it. It's on HBO Max. Watch it.
Do not watch with your kids, but yeah, watch it.
Spoiler alert, you do see some man junk. We'll leave it at that.
You sort of see some woman junk, but not totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and besides that, just holy crap, the first 5 minutes of that movie, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Gory as all crap. Alright, this first match, just incredible with, man, check out this entourage. He's got Jason, Chastity, and Nicole Bass.
She's tonight, I got hives.
Chastity, who the F was that?
That is, I think she was in WCW with Raven, and then they fired her because she had a porn star past.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, so.
With a name like Chastity.
That's how I remember her, because Eric Bischoff talked about it on his show, they found out and they let her go, so.
During that time, why did they care?
I don't think they cared, I think they were worried that Turner Network would care. I think he said it never got out to them, but they nipped it in the bud before it became a thing, so.
Good lord. And ECW, that's almost like something on the job application. Have you been in porn? Look.
No. Whoa, don't be so quick to answer now. Hold on, think about your answers.
Well, it's one of them things look, if you answer no, that will not disqualify you from employment, but, we might not hire you.
Yeah. Anyway, the entourage, by the way, is a porn star, a guy who gives people hives, and one of Howard Stern's whack pack, so.
Who also did porn. I mean, sort of. I mean, she did, what's called apartment wrestling, which isn't technically porn, but it's dominatrix stuff where she keeps most of her clothes on. Yeah.
Wow, you have some strange viewing habits, but I don't judge.
Bruce Pritchard talked about that. He said that's why, well, not why they let her go, but they said she tried to get more money out of him, and when they said no, she said, I can make more money doing apartment wrestling, and he's like, then go do that.
All these women were fired from a later position, or I guess this was earlier for Chastity, later for Nicole, for the same thing?
Basically, yeah.
Wait, no, I'm getting back because Nicole actually hadn't been in WWE yet. She doesn't come till later. So later they would both be fired for the same thing.
Technically, I think because she wanted more money to re-up her contract, and they were like, first of all, we don't want to re-up your contract. Second of all, even if we did, we're not paying you more money. And her excuse was, well, I can make more doing apartment wrestling. And he's like, first of all, I don't know what that is. Second of all, then go do it. And then when he found out what it is, he's like, yeah, get the hell out of here.
I can't believe someone that was on the Howard Stern show didn't have high morals.
Right? Gosh, right? Anyway, Just Incredible is taking on Jerry Lynn. This is a final of the summer series.
Yes, there is a match in here, folks. Sorry for all the pain.
Yep. It's about 14 and a half minutes long now that we're done talking about porn, at least for now. Joey Styles gets in a line.
Yeah, the next match is coming up, so.
Wow. Joey Styles gets in a line about Nicole Bass that they, quote, ought to call her Russia because she's bigger than China. Good Lord. First of all, I think he's talking about the USSR.
Is that true? Because I don't think Russia's bigger than China, is it?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is he talking about the USSR? Because maybe, but like, at this time, no.
Like, China has more in its capital than our old country has here.
Yeah, right. But Styles also makes sure to trash, quote, the know-it-all wrestling journalists during the match. I thought those were ECW's target demographic. So what the hell? Anyway.
Yep. I must have missed that.
Yeah, he kept going on about, well, the know-it-all wrestling journalists don't like this stuff. It's like, I thought you guys loved the smart marks.
Also, to be fair, the reason I missed it is if you listen to Joey Styles in ECW, he says and when I say quick one-liners, I mean it literally. He says it so quick and it's kind of faint that you have to be like listening to hear it. Like, you know what I mean? You have to like be really paying attention. You're not going to just hear it and pass it. So, yeah.
For sure, yeah. Well, let's see. Credible's entourage gets involved quite a bit in this match, and Jerry Lynn ends up taking them out one by one. Credible finally wins with the That's Incredible off the top rope. I will say it looked a little weird because, like, he's sitting on the top rope, Lynn goes up like he's gonna do something to him, and then he acts like he fell and like he basically lays over Credible's shoulder and gets in position. I'm like, it looked a little unnatural, but whatever. Either way, I thought it was a good match. Yeah. Uncle Dave gave it 3.25 stars. I gave it 3. What say you?
I gave it 3 as well. I genuinely love this match. I was shocked how good it was.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to say this. Some people might not like it. Some people might not even get it. But, wow, a tombstone on the top rope and someone doesn't kick out. That's a shock.
I know. You're not going to see that in 2021. Oh, man. I'm getting so effing tired of that. I hate when people kick out of any pile driver, but especially, like, a tombstone off the top. Like, come on, man.
Sammy Guevara is like 10 pounds, dude. Could have killed him.
I know. Stupid.
I have to get off topic, but man, that match was so good, and then they did that. Anyways.
Yep. Sometimes AEW is like, they get in trouble sucking themselves off sometimes, I'll say that. But anyway, before the next match, Chris Candido brings out Tammy Lynn Sitch, better known as Sunny, and Joey Styles acts like this is a huge coup for them.
Yeah. I was like, so?
Yeah, like he loses his effing mind. Did you notice that?
I did.
He was like, oh my god, we got Tammy! And I'm like,
I started having flashbacks of when, was it Deuce or Domino that debuted in Ring of Honor and they lost the crap over it? Do you remember that? Cliff Compton. Oh my god,
yeah.
Cliff Compton! Like, and?
Yeah.
And then one more recent one was when Deonna Purrazzo debuted in Impact and Josh Matthews act like they just landed like an in their prime Hulk Hogan or something. Deonna Purrazzo, oh my god! So?
Yeah. I will say since then, Deonna's went on to be like their top female star.
I'm not going to deny that, but
right.
no one's
but at the time, yeah. at the time, it's
I'll
like,
say this, it would make more sense now if she was like debut somewhere and someone got nuts because of the name she's carved for herself, but not last year.
right. Yeah, well, I was like, you mean the girl who had like one jobber match on Raw and had been like basically a jobber on NXT?
All right.
So, I don't know. But yeah, when they're like freaking out over Tammy Lynn's sitch, like I'm like, okay, nobody's gonna say, holy crap, Sunny's on the other channel? I'm gonna change. Like, alright. I mean,
Now,
I might change after I see her.
Remember the last match I said more on the porn thing going up? When's she going to do porn too?
Yeah, years down the road, I think it's called Sunny Side Up.
Oh, that's original.
Yeah, right.
I'll say this too, when I first saw this, I didn't know her and Candido were really a thing. I was like, so she went to ECW just to be with Skip? And now it makes sense, but like, okay.
Right. But Chris Candido, by the way, was in phenomenal shape here. Like, mother of God. Like, yeah, he was short as hell, but holy cow, he was jacked.
That's currently a goal of TJ's, by the way, folks. But anyways.
Yeah, right. But since Chris is wearing headgear, he runs around the ring barking like Rick Steiner. I thought that was funny. And then he and Tammy do the Steiner Brothers pose. I will say that, I'd rather, have Tammy sitting on my back.
See,
than,
I
Scott
knew
Steiner.
it. I knew it. I knew it.
You knew I was gonna go there.
I did. I was like, oh god, there's a dog style joke coming. I can see it. Part of me was hoping you would.
Got it in there. I can't just leave it sitting there.
Giggity.
Wow. Tammy then does Chris's ring announcements, and is it just me, or does she sound incredibly drunk?
I didn't catch that.
She just seemed like, cause her eyes are like half open, and she's like,
Well, knowing what we know now, I think it's an educated guess.
yeah. She's just like, her eyes are like half open, she's like moving her head around a lot, she's like, 200 so-and-so pounds, or the hardest pounds I ever felt. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, what the hell?
I
don't
mean,
know,
no, but.
Well, no. I mean, and by the way, I will say this, she grabs like the ring announcer's mic and says something about like, she can do it better or something, and I'm like, of all the things you're good at, which is a short list, but ring announcing is not on that list. She's horrible. I always hated when she did the ring announcing in WWE. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like looking at her, but I'm like, holy cow, like her voice is like screechy.
The problem is she didn't try. She was just yelling it. Like, not yelling it to try.
Right.
Just saying it.
Right. Yeah, I know. But this next match is Lance Storm versus Chris Candido with Tammy Lynn Sitch in his corner. It went 11 minutes. Joey Styles puts over that Chris Candido's wearing that wrestling headgear because Sabu ripped his left ear off. But when Storm takes Chris's headgear off, it looks perfectly fine.
Well, he had the ECW money to go get a plastic surgeon done, so there you go.
Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, cause Styles explains it away by saying, well, he had a good plastic surgeon. It's like, from his leftover Body Donna's money?
Hey, he signed the check over to the doctor. The silly doctor didn't clear the check before he did the surgery, so it bounced, but hey, Candido got his, so whatever.
Speaking of Candido and money, I always like I heard a story where he was NWA champion at one point, and he ran into Lou Thez in like an airport bathroom, and he like marked out. He's like, oh, Mr. Thez. He's like, hey, you probably don't know who I am, but I'm Chris Candido. I'm the NWA champion. And he's like, you have any advice for me? And Thez was like, always get your cut of the house. And, Candido laughed, and he's like, yeah, if I actually just was, cause back when Thez was wrestling, they got paid based off, their cut of the house. Well, Candido was like, if I had that, I'd actually be losing money.
Good lord.
That's sad. But anyway, Tammy hands Candido powder at one point, but Storm smacks it into Chris's face. The ref gets bumped, and when Storm goes up top, Tammy rubs his ass and then crotches him. The referee grabs her dress for some reason. Candido schoolboys the referee because he's still blind from the powder, and he rips Tammy's dress clean off, having her breasts pop out, but she dives forward and covers them up. And then a security guard covers her up. The crowd boos, obviously, because they don't get to see her, puppies. And, Candido hits yeah, right. And then Candido hits the blonde bombshell on Storm for the win. Uncle Dave gave it 3 1/4. I gave it 3 stars. What say you?
I gave it 3 too. I liked it.
2 3 stars back to back, man. Like, what's going on in the show?
On an ECW show.
I know. What the hell is going on? I mean, I realize the guys we just mentioned, but holy hell. Either way, after the match, we go to commentary where Joey Styles acts shocked about something he's hearing over his headset before saying, I didn't think we were going to show this on the pay-per-view. And then he sends it to footage of New Jack outside the arena with fans saying that,
Sorry.
yeah, I see New Jack coming in Dayton and I'm running. I mean, he would have fit right in.
I was sad. I bet you felt at home there.
But New Jack was saying that Jack Victory is going to get his ass whooped tonight. All of a sudden, Jack Victory comes out of the arena dressed like a middle school gym teacher. And he's even got like the lanyard around his neck and everything.
I know.
You know, just in case security doesn't recognize him at his own effing show.
By the way, real quick, we're getting back to our, gotta mention, Jack Victory thing in our show, because we haven't done it in a while.
I know, I was starting to have withdrawals, man. We haven't got to mention him in a while. But, anyway, he approaches New Jack. Eventually the Dudley boys roll up in a car, hop out, and hit New Jack, and jump New Jack with Jack Victory, beating New Jack down. The chair-swinging freaks of Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten come out, along with John Cronus.
Real name, by the way.
Yeah. As they run out to help New Jack, New Jack gets slammed face first into the car hood, and everyone separates. Apparently, by the way, this was enough to hurt him so bad, there will be no match tonight between him and Jack Victory, to which I cried.
Tears of joy?
Yeah, right. I know I texted you at this point, and I was like, 2 great matches on the show. I've been loving it so far, and we don't get to see Jack Victory versus New Jack. Like, holy crap, this may be the best show ever.
Do we know why it was canceled, by the way?
I do not. I hadn't seen anything in the news about it, which is my bad. I know I didn't do my research. Feel free to crap on me about it, but.
I mean, if it wasn't in the news, it might not have been significant.
It might, I will say this, I didn't look at the actual show review by Meltzer. It might have been in that. So I'll,
Oh, we could pass it off as I don't want to read crap, so there's that.
Good lord. But anyway, we move on to Backstage. Was it just me, or did the cameraman shake all over the place like he was on drugs?
See, I thought it was wind or something.
He's like moving back and forth and up and down and all over the place. And I put in my notes that said, the camera's shaking like the cameraman's on drugs, which is a good bet.
We got some good stuff from Tammy.
Good lord. While Bill Alfonso and Rob Van Dam cut a promo with Sabu just standing there in a suit. And RVD and Sabu, they talk about RVD and Sabu defending their ECW tag team titles later tonight against 2 Japanese wrestlers. About Shinsei Shinzaki, by the way, RVD keeps pretending he sneezes and he goes, Hakushi! And then Bill Alfonso would say, bless you. For those that don't get it, he was Hakushi in the WWF. So there you go. Sabu, by the way, clearly wants RVD's TV title, and he makes it super obvious. Is it just me, or did their old-style TV title look like they just got the Winged Eagle WWF World title and slapped their logo on it?
Yeah, their old tag titles look like the Intercontinental title, too, so.
I know. I'm like, did Reggie Parks just have, like, reject titles laying around, and you're like, just put our logos on it and ship them? Their world title, I can't quite place that one. It was very different at this time. Anyway, the next match is Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka. It went just shy of 12 minutes. When Mike Awesome comes out, Joey Styles lets everybody know that he's called the Gladiator in Japan, because Joey Styles is a huge nerd.
I still think it's him under Sockhead Idiot's mask.
You cannot confirm nor deny, alright? I'll never not, by the way, be a fan of this match. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have this was damn good, not to keep it away, but they'd have an even better one 7 years later.
Oh, the One Night Stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was one of their better ones, I'll say that, because they had a ton of matches. Both men damn near killed each other multiple effing times in this match, including Awesome getting powerbombed over the top rope, neck first to a damn table outside the ring. That was sick. After a ton of big moves, Tanaka pins Awesome with a tornado DDT onto a stack of chairs. Uncle Dave gave this 4 stars. I gave it 3.5. What say you?
God, I have to agree with that idiot. I gave it 4 as well. I loved it.
Yeah, I will say this, it was damn good.
I thought their match at One Night Stand is 5, so I'm like, I think that's a little better. But man, this was awesome.
We gotta review that sometime just so I can go back and watch it.
I think Mike Awesome is one of the more underrated guys ever.
Oh, he was great. I don't understand. I mean, just looking at it, like, by God, look at it. Don't you think Vince would have, like, salivated over signing him?
I would think.
I don't get it. It's like, what was it the damn mullet? Cause he could have cut it.
I think by the time he got here, or WWE, he had no mullet. I want to say he had like a flat top, so.
That's why I'm thinking, it's like, was it the mullet? I mean, I think he cut it towards the end of his WCW run when he was in Team Canada. But still, it's just like, I don't know. But either way, yeah, it was a damn good match. Backstage, Taz cut a promo where he says that tonight is the night Bam Bam Bigelow will tap out to the real world champion. He has the name drop Steve Austin, Goldberg, and Mike Tyson. Gotta get them in. When we go back to the commentary table, rather, Shane Douglas disagrees with Taz and says he's the real world champion. And he's like going nuts and showing off his title and everything, so there you go. Backstage, Joel Gertner's cutting a promo for the Dudley Boys. The camera is yet again shaking all over the damn place.
Withdrawals, dude.
Right. Gertner says that the Dudley Boys made sure that no one will be around to save the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and Spike Dudley tonight. Bubba Ray shouts at the camera and makes a bunch of crucifixion references. No, that happened in 96 with the crucifixion of Sandman, so.
Late 96, early 97, something around there.
Yeah, so I don't know what the hell this was all about. It wasn't even, like, timely, or, I don't know. This is weird. What was with this company, like, obsessed with, like, making crucifixion references? That's weird, dude.
Yeah.
But this next match is for the ECW World Tag Team titles. It is Rob Van Dam and Sabu with Bill Alfonso in their corner. They are defending against the team of Jinsei, Shinzaki, and Hayabusa. Hayabusa is another one I was thinking of from FMW. Unfortunately, he got paralyzed in the ring at one point and he died an early death, but he was really good in the ring when he was a wrestler. But this one went just shy of 21 minutes. The way Sabu is dressed for his entrance gear at this time, by the way, made him look like the Sheik Jr.
Yeah, I thought he went a little overboard on it.
Yeah, he's wearing the robe, the headdress. He was even wearing the suit backstage. So I was like, yeah. But there were clearly some communication issues with these two teams at first. You can see there's actually a "you effed up" chant early on in the match. It quickly gets crazy, by the way, and in the end, RVD and Sabu lay Shinzaki and Hayabusa on a table, and then dive off the corners on top of them for the pinfall win made by Sabu on Shinzaki. If I had one critique of this match, it's that I think it went on way too long. Uncle Dave gave it 2 stars. I gave it 3 stars. What say you?
I gave it 3 as well. I really loved it. I thought it was a little too long, and I thought at this point, I'm like, man, people still haven't scouted the Van Daminator enough. I know, right? Like he held that chair for like an hour before he got kicked into his face.
They always catch it. Like, quit catching the chair. Just move out of the way or swat it or something.
It just felt like it was longer than ever.
Right.
Are you gonna kick me now or what?
My favorite is Sabu throwing the chair. He catches the chair and then RVD hits it.
Yeah, that was great.
But either way, a highlight package before the next match shows when Bam Bam Bigelow put Taz through the ring when Taz had him in a Taz mission. or the Katahajime. I don't know how to spell it. Later, Taz shook his hand to show some respect, but Taz kept trying to get the world title match against Shane Douglas, injuring his arm in the process. This led to Bam Bam defending his triple threat partner. Taz started calling himself the uncrowned world champion, creating the FTW world title, which is back on TV, by the way. As Taz kept going.
Yeah, what's his name? Ricky Starks? I think, what's his full name? Absolute Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Current champion.
Yep, right after Brian Cage. But as Taz kept going after Shane Douglas, Bam Bam kept going after Taz, so that kept this feud going. So there you go. This next match is Taz defending the FTW World's Heavyweight title in a Falls Count Anywhere match against Bam Bam Bigelow. It went just shy of 13.5 minutes. Taz no-sells a huge powerbomb to start the match, and it's all nuts from there on out, battling through the crowd and all over the arena. Taz even gets thrown face first through a table that's propped up in the corner, and he gets busted open. Taz plexes Bigelow through half of a table set up in the corner. Finally, Bigelow picks Taz up on the ramp, and Taz turns it around into a tornado DDT through the stage. The crowd loses their effing minds. Bam Bam climbs out first, and then Taz hops out, and he jumps on his back with a Katahajime, and Bigelow taps out on the ramp. Uncle Dave gave this 3 3/4 stars. I gave it an even 3. What say you?
3 as well. What the hell's going on, man?
We have not rated one match on the show below 3 stars yet. And we've only got one more match to go. We'll get to that one. But, yeah, this is a damn good match. I love these two. I find it funny that Uncle Dave gave it 3 3/4 stars. Like, what the hell shaved off a quarter of a star?
Right?
Like, it's like, dude, just go with it, man. But Taz grabs a mic and he shouts, "Hey Douglas, beat me if you can, survive," and he lets the crowd finish it. Shane gets so angry that he picks up a monitor and throws it, and Francine holds him back on commentary. Now, in the play-up footage for the main event, it seems that this entire match revolves around Beulah McGillicuddy. Her allegiance to Tommy Dreamer, by the way, is suspect at best, and the Dudleys hit the 3D on her once. I think that was her swan song, wasn't it? Her getting 3D'd.
Yeah. What was
Okay.
a pile driver? Whatever. One of them.
Yeah,
No,
so-
pile driver was Sam Ann's wife. Never mind.
Yeah. Man, Peaches got abused in ECW, man. I mean, not that Beulah didn't, but... Yeah, speaking of porn, Beulah McGillicuddy. Anyway, we're gonna take our next break.
Wow.
From what I had heard, I haven't seen it, but from what I had heard, she did porn before going to ECW under a different name.
I don't want to know.
Hey, we've talked about porn already on the show, man, and you gotta just steer into it. Head first. Anyway, head first. Anyway, get back. I'm not touching that one. We're gonna take our next break. When we come back, we're gonna dive into the main event right after this.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Fanatics offers the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and gear from all the leagues, teams, and players that you love, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NCAA, NASCAR, soccer, and golf. They even offer esports gear for the gamers among us. You can shop by brand, sport, team, or player. And if you sign up for Fan Cash, you get exclusive weekly deals. So head on over to Fanatics.com today. Fanatics is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
Alright, main event time. Before the match, Bubba Ray Dudley cuts a promo in the ring, trashing the Dayton audience, challenging anyone from the WWF and challenging anyone from WCW. Bubba, by the way, is still trying to talk somewhat Southern. Did you catch that?
I actually thought that was his natural accent for a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, how were we supposed to know, you know? But it just sounds funny. That's like, especially now knowing he's got the thickest freaking New York accent. And then he's trying to talk like this. Like, what the hell? I guess it makes sense because his name is Bubba and he wears a Confederate flag bandana. But Joel Gertner cuts another disgusting promo. He did make me pop when he...
It's shocking.
I know. Usually he keeps it fairly clean. I will admit he made me pop when he said, Dayton, Ohio. It's amazing where they let people live these days. Joel introduces official Jeff Jones, who,
Judge Jeff Jones?
Not just yet. He's the extreme official Jeff Jones at this time. Doesn't, Brian Myers mark out to this fool?
Yes, he does.
Frickin' weird.
Well,
Whatever.
He loves ECW, man. To him, that's like the greatest thing ever.
Again, freaking weird.
Keep in mind, he's from New York, so there's that.
How is he not the one doing the deathmatch garbage?
He said he has a family and cares about them.
Yeah, but, hey, don't get me wrong, at least he has a line, but why is it the other one? He doesn't have a family that he gives a crap about?
Oh, he's got Chelsea and a couple of dogs and some cats, I think.
Yeah. Hey, Chelsea, if I'm maimed, you'll still love me, right? Nah, I love you for them abs. Anyway. Joel and, yeah.
I said abs.
Jeff Jones. God. Well, anyway. Jeff Jones also has a blow-up doll with Beulah's face on it that they call Beulah McGillislutty. That was original. When Joel says sign guy Dudley has a quote ruptured rectum.
You thought JR's anal bleeding was bad.
Right. Well, to put this in context, sign guy Dudley's got like a brace on his leg and he's on crutches, and Joel is like playing up his injuries, and he said and a ruptured rectum, and they get angry at him and they're like, "Hey, you don't say that. That's not real." And he's like, "Oh," but after he says that, Joey Styles says, "I bet Joel caused that injury himself." Holy crap. Let's get into the match at hand. Mother of God. It is, real names, by the way. Bubba Ray, Devon, and Big Dick Dudley.
It stands for Richard.
Oh, yeah.
Richard went out of the gutter.
Oh, well, totally. And, they have Joel Gertner and sign guy Dudley in their corner. They are taking on the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and Little Spike Dudley in a 6-man tag team street fight. This went for about 14.5 minutes. The babyfaces all come out with plunder to start the match, and Sandman makes himself bleed a gusher before the opening bell. I was like, hot damn, dude, you really busted your ass open. I did laugh when Joey Styles called Big Dick Dudley, quote, ECW's giant, and said he was 6'7", and then Sandman comes in and is eye level with him.
I think they were going with girth too. So.
Yeah, I get that part, but
no,
he's
I know.
like
I think that's their giant is their girth.
Right. Well, he's like he's 6'7", then he gets in the ring. It's like, okay, then either Sandman is also 6'7", which I don't buy, or you're full of crap. Yeah. But Big Dick got busted open.
Hang on, I gotta say something real quick. Did you notice how long it took for this match to actually be a street fight?
Yeah.
I feel like they were just wrestling for a while. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not against, I don't really care about hardcore wrestling. I just think it's funny that they took forever to get to their own bread and butter.
I know, right? Especially when they brought garbage to the ring and Sandman is bleeding before he steps through the ropes.
Yeah, because for a minute I had forgotten it was the hardcore street fight, back alley brawl, Dayton street fight, whatever the hell they want to call it.
The hell?
I forgot, honestly. I just thought it was a good old fashioned trios match.
Yeah, right. Well, Spike is also bleeding. Spike dives off the ladder.
And Big Dick's still bleeding. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
He is. Spike sets up a ladder in the ring and he dives off of it down onto all three Dudleys outside of the ring. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Devon
pretty cool. Educator of kids, by the way. That's a shoot.
Right. And he weighs about 100 pounds soaking wet with bricks in his pocket. Devon is next to bleed. Oddly enough, Tommy Dreamer and Bubba Ray don't bleed in this one. They're the only two. When Tommy Dreamer locks
I don't want to get any crap for this, but seriously, because Devon's so damn dark, you can't even tell he's bleeding.
Well, it's also the video quality too.
That too, yeah, that too.
I've been able to tell, and you're right, but I've been able to tell when he's bled and because an ECW doesn't do close-ups a whole lot, so that's
I'm
another
okay with
thing.
that.
Yeah, right. Because at first they were like, Devon's bleeding, and I'm like, is he? And then there were a couple angles, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it. And then they did finally get some close-ups, I'm like, hot damn, he is bleeding. But Tommy Dreamer locks Sign Guy Dudley in the figure 4, and then Jeff Jones breaks it up before pile driving the blow-up doll and doing Tommy Dreamer's pose.
You just said that.
Don't know. This is a real sentence. Tommy Dreamer then piled...
Look, who was waiting, show of hands, who was waiting for him to do something disgusting with that doll?
Yeah, show of hands, who's shocked it wasn't Joel Gertner? But Tommy Dreamer then gets up and pile drives Jones. The next ref, along with the baby faces, all hit stereo drop kicks onto the heels who were all hung up in the corners in the Tree of Woe. That was kind of cool. Tables, ladders, chairs, and canes were all used in this match.
It's actually ECW's TLC, by the way. No joke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was shocked that it was only these weapons, by the way. Bubba did take a nut shot with the cane, which...
Of course he did.
What is always with him and getting hit in the nuts? Who volunteers
bro,
for this?
He's got a huge Johnson, bro. Doesn't hurt.
You see who he's married to? I believe it.
I think we discussed this. That's how he got it, right? Because he talks in his sock.
That's got to be it. That has to be. Unless he's low-key handsome, and he's either low-key handsome or got a low-key big hog.
I mean, I've often said this. I'm like, yeah, I can see why guys like, Brady and Cena, they get the women they want, but really?
And the Miz.
Bully Ray? Yeah, and the Bully Ray with Velvet? Really? Seriously?
Yeah, I know, alright, whatever. I could even see it with Gail Kim and her husband. It's first of all, he's jacked. Second of all, he's got that foreign accent, the British accent. And third, he can cook her a nice meal afterwards. There you go.
And he's got the silver hair. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This guy's bald, by the way, boy.
God dang it, I know.
He accentuates his scars. Another thing.
I know. It's just wow.
If Velvet was Canadian, I get it. Apparently they like that because that's how hockey players look. Like that. Scars and teeth missing, all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. But in the end, Bubba misses a middle rope splash onto the ladder. Tommy Dreamer hits the Dreamer DDT and pins him. This was the main event because of all the story involved, but honestly, it was, in my opinion, the worst match of the whole night. Not saying it sucked, it just was the worst match of the night. Uncle Dave gave it 2.25 stars, I gave it 2.5 stars for average. What say you?
I wanted to give it 1, but I found myself kind of enjoying it and intrigued, so I gave it 2. I just, I don't know. I hate hardcore matches, but I try to put that aside. I don't think it's fair to take points away for that.
I want to say for the first half of it, I think I hated it.
I did too, because like I said, it took 7 hours to get started.
Yeah, I know. Right.
And I say that critically because I'm like, I don't like hardcore matches, but what the hell? You're wrestling.
Well, once the actual street fight aspect of it started, I wasn't super impressed with that either, because it's okay, this is every Dudley Boys match in ECW ever. Brawl through the crowd, hit each other with every weapon, brawl around ringside, don't do anything in the ring, and then finally they got back in the ring. I'm like, okay, it's not terrible.
It really makes you wonder again what the hell Vince is like, oh, I want them.
Right, yeah. And that's...
Keep in mind, he didn't get Lance Storm or Jerry Lynn, eventually, but he didn't get Lance Storm or Jerry Lynn in their heyday. He got the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, right.
I want to talk about night and day.
I know. Yeah, because with this stuff I'm seeing, I'm like, what did they show Vince that he was like, I need these guys? I don't get it. And don't get me wrong, they, once they went to the WWF, I could see it. But what about their run in ECW made them stand out to him? Whatever.
I just thought they were a draw. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, all they did was accentuate Edge and Christian, the Hardys, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, they did good stuff in TNA. They did good stuff in WWE. I feel like they really are one of the most decorated tag teams of all time. They're right up there with LOD. So.
You know what's funny? I think a majority of their wrestling was best in TNA, if I'm being real. Like, I mean wrestling.
Yeah, they did have some good matches there with the machine guns, beer money.
Well, yeah, but do you see who you just named though, to be fair?
Right. Even with LAX.
I put John Moxley in this category. I thought he was really great as Dean Ambrose and doesn't do anything great as Moxley anymore.
Man.
With the hardcore stuff, I'm like, what the hell? We know you can wrestle. Don't tell me you can't.
Yeah, that's their comfort zone, I guess. But after the match, finally we get Jack victory, man. He's here.
This is the point of the show where I got down my hands and knees and thank God for giving us this gift.
Right, yeah, because first Jack Victory comes in, and he has a guitar for some reason, and he smashes it over Tommy Dreamer's head.
Because that's New Jack's thing.
Which blew my mind, because New Jack is a freaking hip-hop guy, so whatever.
I don't think he uses ironically like Jeff Jarrett did, to be fair. I think,
Yeah, well, and they fill this thing, like, Jarrett put a little bit of powder in his, so it made a poof. This thing was filled with powder. So it looked like after he hit...
No, that's just how guitars are built, you idiot.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, so...
You would know, this is probably a freaking Ohio-made guitar. Jeez.
Yeah, first of all, when he hit him with the guitar, that thing disintegrated, into, splinters. I'm like, hot damn, I've heard of gimmicking a guitar, but wow. And secondly, there was so much powder...
Talk, man. He doesn't
yeah, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But the thing with the powder, there was so much damn powder in that thing, it looked like Tommy Dreamer, dyed his hair white. I was like, wow, dude.
Rumor has it, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
Good Lord.
I'll tell you off the air.
But I saw a blonde guy hitting somebody with a guitar, and I had PTSD. That's all I'll say. But a brawl breaks out before New Jack runs down with a shopping cart full of bullcrap, and
you know the song was playing, by the way, but you won't hear it.
Oh yeah, unless you can find a bootleg copy of this somewhere, yeah, it's gonna be that horrible Peacock dub. But yeah,
because the song itself is so great.
I know you're not a fan. I personally always loved Natural Born Killers, but that's just me. Anyway.
It fit New Jack, I'll say that. Can't deny that.
Right. He beats everyone down with everything in the damn shopping cart, including the shopping cart. He finishes it by smashing a guitar over Victory's head. Sandman, New Jack, and Tommy Dreamer all climb ladders in the middle of the ring and pose while a bloody Spike Dudley poses below them. End of show. I'll say this, ECW shows always, good, bad, or indifferent, always ended awkwardly, in my opinion. I feel like they still had 5 minutes to go, and they're like, what do we do? And they're like, I don't know, dance around in the ring while Natural Born Killers plays. Everybody loves it.
I remember when Mike Awesome beat Spike Dudley, that one where he beat him to a pulp.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other one where he didn't beat him to a pulp. Anyways, he was celebrating in the ring, and it went off the air as he was getting out of the ring to go to the back. So
wow.
I'm of a different mind. I'm like, I think they were always constantly running out of time. Now keep in mind, I don't think they can go all the way to 8 p.m. or 11 over there, whatever time zone thing. I think they have to give 10 minutes. I think. Cause I remember WWE always used to go off at 7:40 my time when it was on traditional pay-per-view.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I do know, it was weird. Their timing was always weird on these shows. And, that was another note I had about this, by the way. The first 5 minutes of this match was just the Dudleys beating the crap out of Spike Dudley, like they do all the time. So I was like, cool. How much can you see this little dude get the hell beat out of him? Jeez Louise. Anyway.
Yeah, it ran its course.
Right. But that's the end of the show. We're gonna take our final break. When we come back, it's final ratings time, and we're gonna tell you what's coming up next week and this Friday on the podcast. We'll be right back.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
And we're back. Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database gave this 8.2 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 9.24 out of 10. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. I am also grading on the ECW scale, so I thought it was a really good show. What say you?
So, I hate ECW, as you know. I love this show. Like, I loved it. I said A-. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, for an ECW show, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this. I thought the last part almost dragged me down to a B+. I'm like, I can't let that drag me down because that's ECW. They do that crap. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that.
It's like I'm not gonna judge WWE stuff based on a bunch of DQs nowadays or AEW on a bunch of afterbirths and all that crap. This is just what they do. So if you factor that in and, you know, it's like, you have to go with it. So, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, this may be, and any actual ECW fans out there, if you can, or even if you know what you're talking about with ECW, point us in the direction of some good ECW shows, because I'm going to be really honest with you. This is the best ECW show I've ever seen, and I don't know if it gets any better than this.
I agree.
It's
the best one you've ever seen. No, no, I agree. It's the best one I've seen too. It's, I don't know. It was just something about it. It was really great.
Yeah, top to bottom.
Top to almost the bottom, but
right, yeah.
I mean, hell, even that match was like passable.
Yeah,
for it being that crap. I mean, if it's advertised to be an ECW street fight, you should know. If you know wrestling, you should know what you're getting.
Yeah, especially with those guys in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't ever going to be great. It wasn't ever going to be, you know, a classic. But, hot damn, man. That's,
let me ask, we had a bunch of 3-star matches. What was your favorite match in this show?
Probably, Tanaka and Awesome.
Yeah, it's mine, too.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite match of the show. My second favorite is probably the tag.
I think Mike Awesome is criminally underrated. I say the same thing about Sheamus nowadays, too, and they're not too dissimilar. It's like, man,
right.
He's just so damn underrated.
He was a big ass dude that could do dives over the top.
And you wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Like, he was a big ass dude. He could do dives over the top rope. He could dive off the top rope.
He could thrill fat chicks.
Good lord.
Gimmick, folks.
Yeah, right. It's the fat chick thriller and that 70s guy. All rolled into one. Good stuff. Well, for all of you, we are not done with the ECW stuff this week. We don't actually have another, it's not technically an ECW show coming up, but this is double main event week, meaning there is a bonus show tomorrow, or excuse me, on Friday. Yes, Friday we are dropping a bonus show. It is TNA Hardcore Justice 2010.
I finished it and, wow. I was gonna say that. This is my second time watching it.
Same.
And wow. Well, we'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. Well, next week on August 25th, we are doing our second and final SummerSlam of the month. It's our final show of the month as well. We are closing out with WWE SummerSlam 2005. This one was Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels in the main event. Legend versus Icon. I will say
there's a Cena Jericho match on here that rules ass, so we'll say that too.
Oh, is it like Warhorse? He totally rules ass or whatever? Oh man, yeah. Anyway, I will say my favorite part, not to spoil anything, but my favorite part of the Hogan, Shawn Michaels thing was actually before the match. It was during Hogan's entrance, where he comes out and there's a giant American flag behind him. He's doing the posing and the crowd's going wild. And Shawn is laughing his ass off in the ring and he starts doing the digging motion like he's being buried. I freaking loved that. I was like, it's so subtle. Not really subtle, but it's like, it's something you wouldn't pick up on, like, as just like a casual fan, but you know what he's getting at.
My favorite part was the Divas doing the car wash, but anyways.
Good lord. Is that on this show?
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta watch it back, but anyway, that does it for ECW. We're bringing you a double main event, and it's all hardcore and extreme this week, man. I hope you're ready.
And if you skip over these events, we'll hold it against you. Can you just download it though and get us the number?
Yeah, how dare you skip over? This is good crap, pal. God
hey, skip over. That was primetime Elix Skipper in WCW.
Yeah, right. Alright, well.
A little factoid.
Right. But alright, well, we're gonna, that's this show. Again, please subscribe and review, give us a download, spread the word, and, listen to us on unhingedsn.airtime.pro live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Big things happening in the world of Unhinged, so keep tuned for that, and we'll tell you about some exciting stuff coming up.
You almost said uncensored. No, we saved that great for March.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, this is an uncensored, hardcore, extreme double main event week, man. So, God help us all. Anyway, we'll see you we'll see you Friday with Hardcore Justice 2010, and next week with SummerSlam 2005.